Maybe, Ben, do you want to tell us what time of day it is that you're walking into the AMA? Because you deserve like MVP award today.
Oh, yeah. Yesterday, I had a meeting at 4 a.m. Today, at this moment in time, it's 3 a.m. and it's been non-stop. So yeah, it's fun. Unfortunately, now I'm over in the Philippines doing my charity work again. It's literally I'm working with US and European people 24/7. So your body clock is still the same. You still go to bed theoretically the same hours if you were in the UK, but I'm in the Philippines. I'm still on English time, but just not on Filipino time just yet. But I'm getting there.
You tuned in just for this event, and for that, you'll always have our heart, Ben.
Yes, it's one of those things because you got to because when you like go out in the day and do your day thing, you got to leave at like 9 in the morning. So you're barely working on 4 or 5 hours sleep every single day at the moment for the last like week and a half. So I am drained, I am tired, but that's what Red Bull's for and
Oh
coffee.
yeah. Yeah. Oh
We
God.
we at least we can take one or two of whatever Ben says today is like he gets a pass on at least two crazy things. And like normally it's like 20 crazy things, but today, we'll give you a pass on two. The sleep exhaustion.
Exactly. You get an extra strike today.
I think most people in here know what I do anyway, but around about 4 months of every year, I take my own personal time to go to poverty countries and literally feed homeless kids. I think I put quite a few stories up on my Telegram when you go on my view my stories. So I take a bundle of cash and literally spend X amount of time in these countries and build houses, or we give out food, or we give out clothes. And it's very rewarding, of course. And we actually sponsor around about 100 children at the moment, putting them into schools, feeding them 24/7, having carers put in place. We have a house called Miracle House. It is a 12-bedroom place, and we take street children off the street, clean them, wash them, give them new clothing, food, and unfortunately, yeah, we do have to put them back on the street. We try and put them into education, but a lot of them, bless them, they don't go through the whole 9 yards with that, but we try our best. That's all we can do. We can't monitor them. We're not their parents. We just do our thing. And yeah, so I'm out here at the moment. I'm here for another few more weeks, and I'll be flying back. And then the next time I'm actually out is September for Token 49 in Singapore. So then I'll be flying back again, back into Southeast Asia, into some countries, helping out with Miracle House and other countries as well, looking after their street kids and animals as well. I do animals as well. So I might tell you if I like animals more than humans. So, and they're amazing. But yeah. So yeah, the people who didn't know, I think most of you do know, but a lot of people who don't know, that's what I do 4 months of every year.
I mean, I've worked with you for years, and I didn't realize the extent of it actually. Like I knew you had some charitable trips here and there, but I didn't realize the extent of it. That's really cool. And I think I speak for
I tell you
everyone
what,
listening when saying it's respectable, and much respect to you, Ben.
yeah, do you remember? I think it was like 2 years ago. Do you remember I was doing the Ukraine refugee camps? That was a weird scenario. But yeah, that was a scary time because yeah, physically had to be in Ukraine, in these camps, and then had to go to Poland. I had to cross the border. Russia was invading at the time, and yeah, my mum was messaging me every 5 minutes, like, "Where are you? Get out! Get out! Get out!" And I'm like, "Gotta stay. I promise I'll stay." And yeah, very rewarding. But that was a squidgy bum time. I shouldn't have gone. It was a bit too
Oh yeah.
dangerous, but it did.
Well,
Yeah, you're still with us now.
I was going to say you're with us and you are at least contributing towards the reputation of what the better part of 100 crypto bros. We have to offset the expectation, right? Like that's our job here is do the best we can to offset any of the crazies. So love that you're doing that, Ben, and what fun. But it's
Yeah.
crazy. I'm glad that you're able to do. We were talking today about some support just technical support on things that we're working on. And how lucky that we have someone in the equal and opposite time zone to Dan and I, to basically carry the torch in non-prime hours or non-peak hours, North America wise anyway. So this might just work out long term. Maybe you should stay.
Yeah, definitely. As long as I could. If I could afford it, I would stay longer, but it's quite very costly. Anyway, let's get the show on the road. How is everyone today?
Hope everyone is doing well out there. And yeah, I think we're good to go. I think everyone has filed in at this point. We're doing these events every other week or so to touch on various topics. When we feel it necessary, we make these more question and answer formats. But in kind of slower times, I think we've discovered, or slower kind of like in what we can talk about, we've found talking about specific topics and that are critical to what Ember Labs does, our technology, our products, has become an interesting way of kind of engaging and adding some extra context for things that might otherwise kind of slip through the cracks. So today we hope to talk about, well, we will talk about Circle, the USDC stablecoin, and the combination of those two and how they intersect with payments, which is ultimately what we do and what we're aiming to disrupt. So with that in mind, I would just like to, generally everyone here knows who I am, but I would just like to say I'm Dan. I do the customer success, and which for the most part, I have my hand in a lot of different pies around the operation. But for the recording, I figured I would introduce who I am and, what I do. And I'll pass the mic off to someone else here.
You sure? I'll jump in. Heather, those who were here, and I recognize certainly a few faces or a few names at the very least. I joined the Discord last week, Dan, I think, or last
couple of weeks, yeah, something like that.
It was the Ben and Heather show. I have been with the company about 2 months now. My role formally is VP of strategy, but as a small team, that encompasses an awful lot of things. Ultimately, and I think I'm not sure if I described it exactly the same last time, and we always shift things around a little bit, but ultimately my responsibility is for keeping the team focused on a common goal and making sure that we make the right moves in a way that obviously benefits the organization, the token, etc. We are getting, everyone gets a little bit exhausted thinking about we're going places, but we really are truly going places. And so a lot of my role now, having been brought in, is how we systematically move the needle forward, and we do it in a way that is thoughtful and obviously to the benefit of all involved. So I spend a lot of my day-to-day working on everything from the economics of the business all the way through the go-to-market of our products and technology. So a little bit of a generalist here, but working day in, day out with Jason, Eli, our technical folks, and our go-to-market folks like Dan and Ben. So I touch a lot of sides of the business, but that's sort of me in a nutshell. I come from a very diverse background of starting companies, founding companies, selling them, but the last 6 or so years have been in the on-chain space. So that's me.
Yeah.
Benny Boo Boo.
Mr. Benjamin here.
I also think I'm the only female in the team, so I get to make fun of all the boys. That's also my job. It's kind of part of the job description is make fun of everyone at least once a day.
I must admit, I like to make my dad jokes quite regularly, and I'm glad, Heather, you actually enjoy my dad jokes, because not many people do. The amount of times I've done in the weekly meetings, internal Slack meetings, I make a little joke, and I just see all the faces. It's all like crickets around the room, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I should have said that. But yeah, so it's nice when someone does laugh at my jokes. But anyway, I'm Benjamin. Everyone knows me pretty well. I've been with Ember since day one and prior, and yeah, everyone knows me quite well for doing a number of things, but mainly for checkout. So we actually got over 227 projects in just under a year through the V2. So it was really successful. Unfortunately, half those projects, this is crypto, have not made it through the winter, but we're still just under 100 projects still on checkout V2. Obviously, with on-chain checkout, as we quote in brackets, checkout V3, around the corner, my job over the last sort of 6 months is making sure those projects who have signed up to checkout V2 are still okay, and opening doors to all new projects coming in to on-chain checkouts. So we should have a good amount of number of projects coming in on the first wave. Obviously, some of them will want to see it live on other projects prior. And my other job is obviously networking to get bigger players looking at our technology. When I say big players, I mean big players. And then hand them over to Jason, and then he takes over from there. But yeah, my main job is breaking down doors, getting into chats where no one can get into, getting to those CEOs that no one can get to, and achieving the impossible behind the scenes, ready for when we do release a product, and it will be very successful on the first day. We have changed tactic a little bit recently, where, as we spoke 2 weeks ago, we've been focusing on how to get mass market for influencers to take the on-chain checkout. And with influencers coming on board as well, we'll have a nice network of people coming in to hopefully make our product proud and get it out there to the mass market. So exciting times around the corner. And yeah, so we thought we'll try something a little bit, again, different. 2 weeks ago, we spoke about on-chain checkout. And we thought we'll carry on the flavor by talking about other things in our ecosystem. Again, that is an actual product. But what is behind Matter One with the USDC, with Circle and so forth, and the payment structure behind it? Tell you the honest truth, I got sorry to take in the mic. I got quite a funny story about USDC. When I first came into crypto, it was when it was COVID, and everyone probably did the same thing. They downloaded Coinbase or Binance, and I went on to Gemini, then I went to Bitmart I just didn't know what I was doing. So I was trying out all these different platforms and trying to figure out which is the easiest one to understand. My good friend Alex got me into crypto because he was doing very well during the COVID situation with making some good profits. Everything was booming at that point. And then he got me into cryptocurrency. And from that, I then went into saw SafeMoon, and I was like, what the hell is SafeMoon? It's booming. I see it all over YouTube. And then I had to download Trust Wallet. So I had to then go down the DeFi route, and I was learning all this. And then the market dumped, and it dumped hard, very hard. And pretty much with most of my money that I put in, didn't do very well, put it this way. And I remember going out for a curry with Alex, and I was talking about my experience with him, and he was like, why didn't you just put everything into USDC when the market was dumping? And I was like, what is USDC? He was like, it's a stable coin. And I was like, what do you mean a stable coin? Like, it's stable. He goes, yeah, it doesn't go up, it doesn't go down, it just stays the same. And I was like, what? I was like, I did not know about this whatsoever. It's like the first 2 months of me being in crypto. And I was like, he's like, Ben, you could have saved yourself tens of thousands. You would have saved yourself tens of thousands. I said, I didn't know, man. I thought you literally had to put it into something, and the other goes up, it goes down. I didn't realize there was a stable coin. And yeah, that was the first time I found out about USDC. But I don't know if you guys, when you guys found out about USDC for the first time.
Yeah, kind of similarly. I mean, I always kind of played around a little bit with crypto over a few years, but it was kind of around that 2020, 2021 period where USDC was really starting to boom. That's also kind of where a lot of fear started, kind of creeping in about other major stable coins, mainly like USDT. And yeah, I think USDC is just, it's kind of a blessing on the crypto space. If I can back up just slightly and kind of give a little description here, Circle is really one of the biggest players in the crypto market. Just across the, especially in the Western Hemisphere, where regulations have slowly been creeping in more and more across all facets of this industry. Circle has always been one of the most, would you say, pioneering companies that's willing to work with regulators, willing to do things by the book and willing to almost see what the first wave of crypto did, what they did right, what they did wrong, and created a kind of well, originally it was like a peer-to-peer network, but it ultimately became like a financial services company that was almost built on trying to solve the mistakes of the first wave of major players in crypto from years and years ago. These guys have been around a while. I think it's 2013, I believe, Circle started, which is over 10 years ago now, which for crypto is, that's as good as 100 years. But any kind of association with Circle is quite important, especially if you are operating out of the United States, where there is a very turbulent regulatory environment. And there's certain companies like Consensus, Circle, Paxos, Ripple Labs that have always stuck to kind of the safe side of regulations, where a lot of us remember entering the crypto space in kind of this DeFi Wild West, crypto Wild West kind of would you say feel. A lot of that was already being contrasted by these growing ecosystems of compliant products and compliant tokens under these companies that kind of kept an arm's length away from the boom that we all remember. And Circle has grown to become quite an important actor in the space, especially for the American side of cryptocurrency, which Ember Labs, specifically the technology company, is based out of Texas, which means that Circle is good to have in our corner. But kind of tying this in a little bit, the reason why we wanted to do this, kind of just like a little like explainer, kind of bringing it in with the Matter One protocol and everything, is because USDC is the stable coin of Circle. USDC is backed 1-to-1 with cash reserves, unlike a lot of other stable coins on the market. We've also probably heard of USDT before, Tether. Most people have heard of this stable coin before, but God bless them, I don't want to speak ill, but there have been serious concerns about their reserves and the value backing of the amount of Tether in circulation versus what's actually redeemable in a practical scenario where theoretically there could be a run, like almost like a bank. How would Tether fare versus USDC versus Paxos Gold or whatever other stable coin you're trying to compare it to? And as a 1-to-1 backed stablecoin that has open transparency, you can go right now, I believe it's like circle.com/transparency, and you can actually see all the reserves that currently back the USDC coin. And the reason I mention this is because USDC is a core aspect of the Matter One protocol. USDC is the interchain liquidity that we use to settle transactions within the Matter One protocol, and thus powering all of our technology. So the idea of exchanging value and basically making the leanest, meanest payment system possible without extra kind of meat on the bones that's unnecessary. That's how we're able to do it, is by leveraging USDC's compliant nature and its interoperability. And that's one reason why it's so important that we became close with Circle. We've actually been on and off in conversations with Circle for probably close to a year, if not longer. We've been on their radar for a while, and that's kind of how things tend to work in the crypto space. There's almost like a layer of separation there, and then over time, as you stick around, you prove yourself, you build meaningful networks of contacts, you eventually start to get recognized. A few months ago, we got a business account through Circle, which already was a big accomplishment. There are people we work with who do not have access to Circle business accounts. And because of that, we've had like a working relationship with Circle for a little while now. And as some of you guys may have known, we actually just recently got accepted into the Circle Alliance program, which is kind of like a huge deal and marks a pretty big milestone for our company and what it is we want to do. But kind of with that, in mind, I figured I would bounce the mic back to either one of you guys and kind
Dan,
of,
I wanted to just jump in because as I'm hearing you talk, I forget, like, it feels like you go a whole year in this space and you almost forget you've done in the previous years because we're moving so quickly. It's like you take a breath and you look around and like, oh shit, we really have to stay on top of these things. But just on the USDC topic, and I will not bore people with too much. Let's get to the meat and potatoes of everything. But in 2021, I was working with a company, and I was there for basically the duration of the company. I was there for quite a while, where we were selling fractionalized assets on the blockchain. So what we were doing in in the entertainment space. Let me be very clear. It wasn't just a fractionalized asset, full stop. It was entertainment assets. So what we were doing was looking at creative property. So a new music track, a comedy set. So if you're on stage at the Comedy Cellar in New York, you record at one time, that's a unique set. You're not going to record that same 30 minutes of comedy or 15 minutes of comedy ever again. What if that's the best joke that someone has ever told in the first time live? That just the hypothesis there was there's a lot of uniqueness to entertainment, whether it be in comedy, whether it be a movie script or Broadway, whatever. But what we really narrowed in on was the fact that comedy was so unique and jokes were so compelling. We can all remember, some of the great Seinfeld bits if we're North American. There's these moments in time that we've all in our mind. If you're as old as I am, but certainly everyone has these funny moments. And as we imagine the sort of TikTok generation, Instagram generation that was following suit, how these moments, they can either be forgotten, they can be immortalized, who owns them? Who owns those moments? And so this was in the upswing of sort of the NFT culture. But one of the things that I found really interesting through this project was what we tried to do, if I just put too fine a point on it, was give fans the opportunity to own pieces, not piece of a Banksy, but piece of a joke, a bit, a Seinfeld episode, a comedy special that you wouldn't have necessarily had any business even showing up to, let alone participating in. And one thing I will say, so that's a bit of the backstory. So it was NFTs on the blockchain, blah, blah, blah. You can look me up. I can certainly paste links and give some context as what the company was up against. But what was interesting on the USDC front was that was the only way that we could get entertainment professionals to correlate dollar for dollar. If I told them I was going to pay them with Ember token or whatever token, it wouldn't matter. They would have laughed in our faces. And USDC, for what it's worth, was the sort of the raison d'etre, like the reason why they bought in. When you're trying to, and so for what it's worth, I think when we're trying to do what we can do to create a meld between sort of the social norm, culture, mainstream sort of capital side of the universe and the universe that we operate in today, USDC is based on its stability, etc., is what has proven to get people outside of our ecosystem with dollars to spend, and frankly, a passion for realizing gains. They don't see it like the way that we see realizing gains. They see it differently. But this world, particularly the entertainment industry, where I was able to experience it firsthand, that is a for-profit business. They are not doing it to entertain us. They are doing it to entertain us just enough to make money. And I think that USDC, as a result of just its pure existence, enabled us to get a lot of really interesting people on platform that wouldn't have otherwise done it. Which to me then, I know we're not necessarily always talking USDC now in Ember terms, but I think that it leads to the goal, the one universal goal that we have here as an organization, which is how do we get anyone with money to spend, period, on a project
Yeah.
in a position to do that, right? So whether they're celebrities, whether they're the average Joe, whether they're people that have shit coins in their wallet that they want to use up, like let's eradicate every and all barrier to entry. And that's what we were able to do with that project. But we were on the Flow ecosystem, which is very funny because they're not really doing a whole hell of a lot right now. But at the time, it's, I don't know, maybe that's not particular. I hope it's a little bit relevant, but I think the point of USDC for a lot of people that are not crypto native is like, oh, I can translate this one to one. And I think we all know that, but I got to see it firsthand with top tier comedians like Hannibal Buress, like Tom Segura, who does Your Mom's House, and a bunch of other like really crass podcasts and television programming. So I got to see it firsthand, their acceptance of it when and only when USDC was involved. Sorry, now I'll get off my soapbox.
Honestly, that was a perfect example, I think, because I think one of the beautiful things about USDC is that it's commercial ready, right? And in a way that a lot of stable coins are not necessarily. And even Tether, in many, it's obviously has a big name, has a name recognition to it. And, a lot of people, they might feel comfortable with Tether, but USDC is really the best stablecoin for building a system that needs to be built on a transparent base, or a base that actually has something to it. And that's the thing that's different about USDC. Precisely how much in reserves they have, and the fact that it's one-to-one swapping. Literally, you can swap it for $1. That is quite meaningful and quite impactful. And a lot of people who are familiar with crypto, who might be otherwise a little, would you say, a little skeptical about crypto, that is their starting point, is USDC. So in the interest of creating a payment system that is ready for the masses, USDC is the perfect base liquidity to do that. And for some of you guys who may or may not be familiar with the Matter One protocol on a more technological level, it does a lot of different things. And one of the reasons it's able to do so many different things is because ultimately the secret sauce is that interchain liquidity layer, and being able to use that for on-ramping, off-ramping, for interoperability utilities, and being able to seamlessly integrate these things to the point where they just all these different combinations of uses of those three utilities just become order requests. And you don't even have to think anymore about it. It just happens in the snap of a finger. And a big reason that is possible, especially for a commercial ready payment system, is the fact that it's built on a sturdy base of USDC, and the fact that we have the open door to work with Circle, just makes it that much better. From a technological standpoint, there are a lot of different ways of going about building a payment system, and a lot of different ways of going about interoperability or on-ramping or off-ramping. But the beauty of what we've done is created a chain agnostic way of leveraging USDC to perform all these different operations, and Circle's stack, which is quite comprehensive. And the final product is being able to truly harness the power of on-chain payments in a way that it's so integrated, it almost feels like you're just using like your traditional banking app or trading app like Robinhood or whatever the case. Like, these are things that theoretically could become possible with a payment system that makes things so seamless, like going to Amazon, buying whatever you want. The Web2 experience is has its sort of recognizable points: speed and accessibility and one click account linking and whatever else. And all the current ecosystem that exists in crypto is not capable of that. Not before the Matter One protocol and all the technology we've built, various different items in our stack. And again, the core piece of it is USDC. And as I mentioned before, we were recently accepted into the Alliance program, which in itself is an honor. It's not easy to get in there. Last I checked, I think there was like 50 something companies that are a part of that network. And for those who've not already had a chance to look, there is a little section of their website that helps break down what it is this actually means. But for us, it basically allows us to enter, all good payment systems need payment networks, stakeholders of various different types, a sort of web of contacts and infrastructure partners. And this basically gives us a warm intro to a variety of different potential stakeholders in what we're building, whether it's one corner or another, or one utility versus another. Becoming a part of the Circle Alliance program grants a level of credibility that the vast majority of products and technologies in the crypto space could only really dream of becoming a part of. And in addition to just the reputation that it starts to form and the warm introductions, it does give us access to the the whole stack that Circle has to offer. It allows us specific resources as developers and builders on their ecosystem. There are resources that like marketing resources that become available to us. We get to learn on a more deep level and connect with them on a more deep level about how we can better leverage their stack, how potentially they could leverage our stack for something if they so chose down the road. There are a lot of benefits that come with being a part of their Alliance program. And it is really a new milestone for our company in being able to become a part of that network, being able to contribute while also being able to gain benefit from that. But yeah, I've been talking for a few minutes now. I hope I've been able to provide a little bit of a better picture of kind of how Circle, USDC, and payments kind of all intersect under our what would you say, umbrella. But yeah, Benjamin, you've been quiet. What do you have to say about this?
Yeah, I think we just missed on a couple of points that I just want to bring up while listening to you guys, and it's been fantastic. So a lot of people probably don't know this, but with our pools that we'll have for on-chain checkout, Matter One, and so forth, we'll have a replenishment system where literally we'll have a Circle account that will have money sitting USDC in the background. And when our Ethereum pool goes a bit low, the USDC from that replenishment system, the Circle account, will actually pop up the Ethereum account and or BNB account or Polygon account, depending if they get low. They should replenish quite quickly and within hopefully a few seconds or a few minutes. But that's why it's so important to have the Circle account built into the Matter One protocol. And then moving on to the next point, I give you another example. I was on the phone to a good friend of mine called Daniel, who owns a company called Food Panda. And Food Panda are the biggest food delivery service in Southeast Asia. And they do Europe as well. They're like the Uber Eats of Southeast Asia. And I'll speak to him about, if there was an opportunity, would he be interested in having cryptocurrency built into his payment system? And he was like, yes, but we have to have literally pound per pound or, USD for USD. So if we receive an order of $50, it has to be $50. It can't be an Ethereum. It can't be a token. It can't be a this because it goes up and down. It's volatile. And I was trying to explain to him that no, a customer can literally pay with any token. We swap it and you'll be given on your end USDC. It's a stable coin, and he goes, perfect. And then he was going then into the regulations of USDC, and again, very comfortable about all the regulations behind it, where if he got given a token, or if he got given even just Ethereum or Polygon, he thinks that later down the line there might be problems, because obviously accepting cryptocurrency, but accepting a stable coin, you're just accepting pound for pound. And the number of companies I've spoken to, they're all the same. They all want USDC. As much as I don't mind Tether, Paolo, who owns Tether, who I've also had a meeting with, but the vast majority of people are just more familiar with USDC. What I read up about USDC, they have regular audits, and it's by far, in my opinion, the number one out there stable coin at this moment in time. So I just wanted to address those 2 points, where when we ever go, if or when we go into e-commerce world and a company can accept any token and receive anything, the chances are it'll be USDC they'll be receiving their end, and of course they can then swap it if they want to. And then the other thing I just wanted to bring back again was the whole replenishment system, and where we will be topping up the liquidity pools when they go a little bit low, and it'll be through our Circle account as well. So it's good knowledge for you guys to understand what goes on in that background.
Yeah, I think it's probably one of the most important, I'd say integrations and kind of partnerships we've been a part of. It's just the ability to have the access to the business account, the float account, although we don't quite use it for the developer, what's called aspects of the dashboard on like the testnet anymore. It's still just one feature among dozens and dozens that we leverage from Circle that really do make the difference in making our payment system truly, commercial ready. And that's the thing. I have a friend in real life, kind of similarly to you, Benjamin, who he's not like by any means like a who's who in Expedia, but works as a travel agent. And he said that his local office would probably be interested if there was something they could just basically plug in and, receive like the exact value of whatever someone wants to pay in without the volatility associated with tokens. They would probably be able to, to take that on a local level, not like a whole major company, but an individual location would probably be willing to do that. And that's kind of powerful, especially with what we're building being so, readily available to just plug into a system and completely overhaul how they're able to accept payments from a completely different aspect of finance that was up to this point remained quite taboo and kind of separated from traditional finance and payments. It's powerful, and one day you might be able to pay for anything in any token or even just your own fiat or whatever the case may be. And it won't matter anymore whether you're using fiat or crypto, because the experience will all be the same. It'll all be instant, it'll be quick, it'll be safe, and it'll be familiar. And I think that's a bundle of characteristics that virtually any business would be able to appreciate if someone was able to get that correct feel. And I think that what we've built is probably the closest thing that is on the market or about to be on the market, and it gives the best shot of achieving that kind of smoothness that you've come to expect from Web 2. And yeah, I think again, I've said this a few times at this point, but USDC is such an important part of the puzzle, and without it, it's hard to say how commercial ready our payment system would be. And having all the various different tools and services we have access to through Circle just make that an even sweeter deal. And when we finally do get to take some of these products to market, namely on-chain checkout, it could be a serious game changer. And that's one reason why Circle recognizes us at this point. It's because it goes two ways. We leverage their stack, and we're building something that will bring adoption to their stack as well. And if we do our jobs well enough, who knows? Maybe the Ember name will pop up on its USDC website at some point. But one can dream. And yeah, I think that's the majority of the spiel I have, but I think another interesting point on the interoperability front, you might come across all sorts of technologies that do cross-chain of some sort, but the vast majority of them leverage some sort of bridge or a mint and burn, or some sort of individual blockchain that you must kind of like use as an intermediary. There are a lot of inefficient ways of sending liquidity, like personal value, from one chain to another. But using USDC is truly the best option that we've seen anywhere. And in practical terms and theoretical terms, it is the best way to move value from point A to point B, regardless of where you might be. And being able to bridge EVM with non-EVM automatically, breaks through a lot of other existing interoperability solutions and just value transfer solutions. So, at the heart of it all is a humble stablecoin, USDC. I don't know if you had anything you wanted to say, Heather or Ben, but that's my spiel.
Short on time. I just didn't know. Do we want to pivot a tiny bit into just some of the new news? I feel like new news. I don't know. Like, I'm not a podcaster, and I'm obviously talking a very different genre than probably those that are following the Kelseys right now.
Oh, I get it. I'm a Philadelphia guy, so I get it.
You're feeling me. You're feeling me. Yeah. So we had some really. Can I just like spiel a little bit on some of the Marcom stuff that's going on that I'm pretty pumped about?
Sure, go for it.
I promise I'll make it quick. I don't know. So I'm in Canada, as many people, I don't know, as all my fans out here know. Just kidding. You don't know me yet. But yeah, no, I'm based in Canada, and one of the big events I went to last year that was probably one of the best North American crypto events. And I've been to ETH Denver. I've been to like a lot, like some legitimate events. But one of the best events in North America that I've seen was this event called, oh my God, now I'm gonna freeze. Jesus. The World. Dan, help me.
Is it is it ETH ETH Toronto?
It's not that. It's the one that's associated with it. It's the bigger one. The blockchain futurist. Thank you so much.
That's
Sorry.
it. Yeah, I got you.
I'm like, when you're like on the spot, and you're like, blockchain futurist. They hold it in Toronto, and if I can just describe the vibes, you go in. It's at this kind of defunct social club that used to be a very, very happening venue, which is no longer quite as happening. But anyway, the venue's cool, but it's huge. They really do it upright. They do staging, lighting, very professional services. Coinbase was the major sponsor last year. Binance was there, of course. Like all of the bigs, like anyone that's significant in any way, shape, or form is there and spending a ton of money on just even exposure and trying to be relevant. In our case, obviously, we're running a much leaner, meaner fighting machine. So we cannot sponsor yet, I will underscore yet, big booths or big parties or anything like that. But this just in, breaking news, Jason has been accepted to be a speaker at that event, which is huge. It's in my hometown, which is great. So I'm hopeful I will be able to go and support him there. So that's in August, which is amazing. Like, we don't have a lot of time in August. August is going to be a very, very busy time frame in terms of product development, but it's not that big of a hop for Jay to hop over and just like do that talk, spend 24 to 36 hours networking. But a lot of our partners will be there, and the fact that, again, he'll be on stage. Like, this is, he was just on stage at the Val Function event. He's been on stage since. He will be back speaking to a more global audience at Blockchain Futurist. Adjacent to that event is ETH Toronto. ETH Milan is down the road, and I believe you heard it here first. I think we're accepted to that one as well. My point is only that we're sort of on this. We're on this really exciting. And I'm the pragmatist of us all, by the way. Like, remember that Heather's like the grounding force here. Yep. I'm not ride or die everything. I'm new, and so I'm pretty pragmatic on these things. The fact that we're being asked to come and speak to sort of our vision for decentralized payments, our vision for an economy where cross-chain infrastructure is just a no-brainer. It's just the obvious conclusion. And that those are the topics that he will be speaking to, and that we're being invited now consistently. I think that VOW event was, and the recording of that event that I know we shared with the community, but I think that was critical in nailing some of these bigger, or I shouldn't say bigger, because the VOW ecosystem is massive and their partners are massive. But in this particular case, this is slightly more, just more diverse crowd, perhaps, that they want Jason, they want more of what we're talking about as an organization. Jason currently, I don't want to, again, he is working toe to toe with some of our senior tech team and our design team right now overseas. They're literally working day in, day out to ship us new looks of new features. And so I've had the privilege, Dan, I think you've seen a lot of it. Ben, I'm sure you've seen some, just shipping us new realities every day, and we're just trying to get a lot of this product over the line. So the fact that we're working in tandem, we've got obviously massive product development happening. We are onboarding new talent next month that I'm very excited about, because I know them personally through a professional relationship, but I know them to be really, really sound. And, we're just moving onward and upward on the product standpoint, but at the same time, we're being recognized globally, frankly, by events that want us to come speak to the vision. And so we have an interesting challenge ahead, which is a really positive one, which is how do we continue to sell the big picture vision while at the same time focusing on what is our ultimate priority number one, which is shipping product. And God love Jason, he's really great at being able to divide himself into multiple quadrants. But in this particular case, 3 of 4 of his quadrants are spent on product, and the one remaining quadrant is spent on promoting the initiatives. And I just want to give him a lot of props, because that's exhausting, going from place to place, promoting the vision, and then coming back and realizing the work required to deliver the actual product, and build the team that's going to take the product to reality. And I'm just excited when I keep seeing these like wins. We're going to take some hits. Every business takes hits, but we're on this really nice upward trajectory right now, both within the team and within the outward recognition of the work, or at the very least the vision and the work that people have seen from a beta phase. And I just couldn't be more excited about seeing those opportunities realized through the summer months, and then leading into the fall. Fall's a very busy conference season. I don't need to tell anyone here that. So hopefully we'll have some new announcements to talk about in September, October. But certainly there are things on the horizon that we're trying to secure. And if that's the case, summer's supposed to be slow. This is supposed to be the sleepy time of the year. It is not sleepy for anyone on our team. There are, I'd like to say there are vacations. There are like 2 days here or 3 days there. There's just too much work, and that's a very good thing. And that should be a very big indicator to this group that everyone is full steam ahead and very, very focused.
And honestly, I think that is probably about the perfect ending that we could leave this on. But I'll open up the floor to you, Ben, if you had some final words you wanted to throw in there as well. I know it's
just talking about events. Jason's now starting to go up on stage in quite a few places, and he'll probably carry on getting more and more and more. I just want to touch base on VOW and how big they got. They don't have a Telegram or a Discord. They have more of announcement channels, but they actually drive their market cap and their awareness through events. And that's how they do their marketing. They've become extremely successful at it. And I think Jason saw that as a win as well when he was up there on stage and getting in front of the bigger players, the bigger boys, the people that can make a difference to your project and to their projects, or, getting just a whale or a fish. Not talking about financially, I'm talking about tech, what they can do for us, new technology. And that's the path obviously we're going down as well. It's a great path because putting your product in front of thousands of people who know what they're talking about gives you validation. They come up to Jason afterwards, talk to him about the product, they want the product, or they've got a product for us that we can put in our ecosystem, that, or something that could be done later down the line. You know, they turn around and said, oh, just say for argument's sake, this obviously this is not true, but say there was an OpenSea there, and OpenSea comes along, sees Jason on the stage, and he'll be like, you know what, it'll be great to have a fiat to NFT on ramp. Can we have that on our website? So it's opening up more opportunities all the time. It's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the future's looking very good, guys. But yeah, on that note, I'm done. I'm ready for bed. 4 a.m. here, guys. I'm really sorry, but I wish everyone all the best of luck. And yeah, the last words to you, Dan. Yeah, let you have the last word.
Yeah, I just
Sweet
want to
dreams.
thank everyone. Sorry, go.
Sweet dreams, but no, Dan, it's all you.
Yeah, sweet dreams, Ben. I know you're gonna sleep very soundly when we officially hang this call up. But
Yes.
seriously, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you guys have learned something new. I hope you have an idea kind of how important USDC, Circle, and our current trajectory is to what we're doing and the direction we're heading. And yeah, with that, seriously, thank you guys for tuning in. Well, I'm looking forward to doing more of these. And yeah, until next time, guys, have a good day, have a good evening, have a good night, and we'll be sure to get that recording up as soon as we're able to. Till next time, guys, take care.